Welcome back to FDVN channel. In today's video, we will introduce a new lesson in the topic of punctuation and mechanics directing traffic. In English there are three ways to end a sentence, period, question mark, and exclamation point. Periods are used to end almost all sentences that are not questions. Question marks are used to end all sentences that are questions, and exclamation points are used to convey a sense of excitement or urgency in sentences that are not questions. Exclamation points should rarely be used in any form of writing and less often than that in legal writing. And if a sentence reports that a question was asked without asking it directly, the sentence should end with a period rather than a question mark. For examples, opposing counsel asked whether the company would reconsider its position, use period. The most important issue is whether the trial court erred in holding the defendant liable for damages when the contract specified another exclusive remedy, also use period. Periods are also used in some abbreviations. For example, Mr., M.A., etc., Mrs., B.A., V., Ms., i.e., B.C., Doctor, e.g., A.D., Junior, P.A.M., Ph.D., et al., P.M. And if a sentence ends with a period after an abbreviation, do not add another period, one will suffice for both purposes. Note that periods are not used with abbreviations for states or with acronyms of organizations' names. Periods are also used to separate whole numbers from decimals, to follow numbers in lists and outlines, and to set off running captions and headings. For example, 58.23 shares, 62.5%. I. A. 1. 2. Further assurances. Members shall execute and deliver all other documents. 2. Commas. Commas specialize in organizing and dividing words into sensible groups. Commas are very versatile as punctuation marks go, being useful devices to introduce, to separate, to enclose, to add, or to contradict other words and phrases in a sentence. Without commas, sentence parts would collide into each other haphazardly, causing confusion and obscuring intended meanings. Commas usually signal in writing what brief pauses would signal in spoken language. If you would pause when reciting a sentence out loud, it is often a good indication that a comma should be inserted. A. After introductory words and phrases, for example, accordingly, plaintiff seeks an order from this court instructing defendant to allow plaintiff to inspect its corporate records. B. Before coordinating conjunctions that connect two independent clauses, for example, defendant breached his fiduciary duty, and plaintiff has been damaged in an amount to be determined at trial. C. To separate items in a series, for example, trade secrets may include technical or non-technical data, a formula, a pattern, a compilation, a program, a device, a method, a technique, a drawing, a process, financial data, financial plans, product designs, product plans, or a list of actual or potential customers or suppliers. D. To separate coordinate adjectives, but don't use a comma to separate cumulative adjectives. Coordinate adjectives each modify a noun separately to convey a different piece of information. Coordinate adjectives can be rearranged and the word and inserted between them without changing the meaning of the phrase. For example, the board's decision was belligerent, arbitrary, and capricious. Cumulative adjectives work together to describe the noun. The words can't be rearranged to convey the same meaning, and inserting and between them is awkward, e.g., in the company's material financial loss. Companies, material, and financial are cumulative adjectives describing the noun loss. The word "and" could not be inserted, companies and material and financial. The words also cannot be rearranged without changing the meaning, financial company's material loss, to separate non-restrictive phrases, usually in pairs unless the phrase appears at the beginning or end of a sentence. Restrictive phrases are not set off, / for example, the Bowdoin court concluded that the breach of contract and unjust enrichment claims, identical to those at issue in this case, were barred by the voluntary payment doctrine. To set off direct quotations that appear within a sentence, for example, as the court notes, there is an additional interest in the case. In his judgment, information should be deemed private so long as it remains within a confined group, even if that group is rather large. Between the day and year of a date, for example, June 26, 2011, January 15, 1992, July 4, 1776. To subdivide large numbers in groups of 3 digits, but only use commas to the left of a decimal, for example A, 1,990,713, B, 25,813, C, 1,919.7759, D, 3.14159.265, J to separate cities and states, and to set off lines of an address written in sentence form, for example, Dallas, Texas. B. If these terms are acceptable to you, please sign the enclosed copy and return to my attention at Kerr, Lee, Manning, 1000, Peachtree Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30301. J. To set off interjections, for example, damn, Miss Holler. When are you going to read that article? L. Any other time necessary to avoid potential ambiguity, for example, the testator left his property to be equally divided between his parents, Bobby and Ellen. Mr. Jones, the public defender, and the district attorney met to discuss a plea.